That's right.
We're the deplorables. Hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And we went ahead and got started on the bandsaw. And I'm making the control panel right now to mount all my components in it. The on-off switch. It's going to have two on-off switches. It's going to have a main on-off switch, and then it's going to have the bandsaw switch. So the main switch will probably stay on all the time unless I need to turn it off to work on something. So we're going to have a main switch in the control panel, and then we're going to have the switch that actually runs the saw, so that anytime I want to run the saw, I can just do like I normally do. I'm mounting the transformer and the controller and the potentiometer in it. I've used Tread aluminum, and I guess we'll go ahead and get started showing you that. Alright, what I've got here is one of the older treadmills that I did, or panel, and this one seemed to be the best candidate for mounting all my stuff in it. And I'm going to polish it up and make it look real nice, and I kind of like the way I used the black screws because it kind of gives it that rugged look. Now I couldn't make the screws uniform here because there's a hole right there. Now, there is holes right here. This is where the key, the slide card for the emergency stop was, and I'm not sure what was here. But to cover those, what I plan to do is take some aluminum tape and go over top of this area, and excuse me, and then I'm going to take some camouflage tape and cover all this area, and then I'll put this back on it, and then I'll have a camouflage border all the way around it, and it'll kind of match the shop. But we'll polish all this up, make it look good. I cut this out the best I could to kind of use the original maximum and minimum and reset, and it says speed controller, so it kind of helped me out with to make it look a little more factory. Then I got my on-off switch, and I'm also going to put an LED in here if I can, or not an LED, but a light in here like I did on the mill to indicate power on. If I can find one. If I can't find one, then I'm going to have to wait until I get one and then just do that later. So now let's look at the back side of it. The back side of it, you have your switch, your potentiometer, your transformer, and your controller. Now I've pop riveted those to the board, or to the case, and there's a funny story in that pop rivet job yesterday. Had to go into the house yesterday and tell the old lady, come and help me, come and help me. And she come out here, and what had happened was one of these rivets, when I went to clamp it down, it snapped like it usually does, and the pin wouldn't come out of the rivet. Well, if I'd have thought about it, I'd have just went and grabbed it one more time with my pop rivet tool, and it would have came out just fine. But no, I took a pair of pliers, and I just kind of grabbed a hold of the rivet pin and was pulling on it, and it broke loose all of a sudden. This box was wide open. And you can see there's a lot of rivets in that. they all hit the floor, went in my scrap bin, and there was a whole bunch of shavings and curls and all kinds of stuff in that metal bin, the trash bin, and they went everywhere. So I had to go in and have her help me pick them up. I didn't have to, but I wanted her to help me, so she did. But anyway, enough of the funny stories. Now I've got to run, this here's going to be a real short one. So rather than to wrap this up, I don't know if I want to do that or not. I probably want to wrap this up in a curl, something like that, because I'm not sure if this is going to work out for me, that potentiometer being where it's at. Actually, you know what? It will work out where it's at, because I'll never have to touch this again unless I ever want to change my speed, because I never change my speed anyway. The potentiometer is going to be set in a certain place, and that's probably where it's going to stay forever. So I might just go ahead and just shorten that and put me some new ends on them and put it right there, and that'll be nice and neat. And it's already bent for the spot. Ain't that cool? So we'll just cut that off right there and shorten it and take these ends off the end of it and put it back on there. So that'll be taken care of. So we got that out of the way. Then I need to run a ground, so I'm going to have to probably make this bigger or longer and just drill a hole here somewhere where I can put all my grounds. And then this one we're going to have 4 wires coming from this to the bandsaw. 2 of them is going to be for the on-off switch, and 2 of them are going to be for the motor. So I'm probably going to take the blue one here and let's see here. No, we'll take the we're going to have 2 black ones, a red one and which will be for the motor. So I need to run 2 blacks, a red, I'm going to have to take that white out of there. 2 blacks, red, and that's going to be 3 blacks. 2 blacks for the switch on the bandsaw, and a red one, and a black one for the negative for the motor. So that'll work. I ain't got it all figured out yet, but we're getting there. So once I've got this finished, we'll be back to show you the next step. Alright guys, we have our control panel mounted with the switch. We've got our wires. Now the wires will go back in behind this post right here, and will be pinned to the back side of this, and we'll go down through the bottom here, go over down the wall, and then the motor will be hooked up. So I think it looks pretty good, and I'll just get up there with some polish or something and polish it up a little bit, and I think that'll work. I think it looks pretty decent. Now the next thing we need to do is go ahead and mount the motor. So we'll get the motor mounted, and the next thing that we'll show is the motor being hooked up. Now we've got 5 wires and our power cord. So we've got 5 wires, and I've marked each one of them as to their duties. The white one, I had to use a white one because it's the only one I had long enough to do it. That will go to green, which is motor ground. And then we've got, and it doesn't matter really what color it is because it's going to be covered with this wire loom. And see, white's the green, we've already went through that one. The blue one is for the motor red, positive. Black is for motor black, negative. And this will go to the switch. So once we get all of our wires hooked up and the way we want them, now we're probably going to have to extend this one, which is basically why I got this, so I can kind of cover it up. And I've got another short piece of smaller stuff so that I can adapt this bigger wire loom down to a smaller one when this goes up to the switch. So the next thing we're going to do is hook up the motor, or put the motor on there. So stay tuned. Alright guys, now as you remember, I marked all these. Motor, red, positive. So we're just going to twist that on there. We're only going to do this temporary just to make sure that everything's going to work okay, because there's no sense in doing all that extra work if it's not going to have the torque you need. I'm certain it's going to, but I'm just going to go through the extra, or go through this step just so that I don't have to go through extra steps that's not necessary. So we got this for going to ground. Alright, and then this goes to black. I got a little bit too much on that one. Well, I had 3 wire nuts here, but I'm missing one. I know I had 3 of them. Alright, well anyway. So we're going to go ahead and hook that in. So we got the motor hooked up to our wires. And we'll just put them out of the way. Alright, so now we got power. So anyway, we did get power to it, and I'm hitting my on switch. Alright, and then I'm going to bring my potentiometer up to about halfway. And sounds pretty good. I got the blade off of right now because my blade was bad. I have to put another blade on it. Plus I wanted to check these bearings, and I think I've got one here that's a little bad or dry. Now I don't see me needing to run that any faster than, let's see. Well, we can find out. I got some of that tape, and I'll show you my new tool that I got thanks to Xanadu. Thank you very much for turning me on to that, Xanadu. And we'll take a piece of this tape, this reflective tape, and we're going to put it on there. If I can get it separated. I think I'm about half blind. Alright, and then we're going to put that on right there. Ah, that don't stick for shit. Did you see that? Oh, wait a minute. I already got a piece on the pulley. Well, that stuff don't hold very good. Alright, so we're going to test and see where we're going to need this thing every time we use it. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to bring our potentiometer up to halfway to get it started. And then we're going to measure this. Alright, we're at 17, about 1800 RPMs. And that is where I have always run my machine. I never change it. So basically all I have to do, turn it on. So let's turn it off. Now you can't leave the potentiometer, which is going to be a little annoying for me. You can't leave your potentiometer where it's at and then turn your switch on and it actually work. Watch. See? That is a safety feature I'm imagining. It probably is set that way so that if somebody's standing on it and they forgot to turn their potentiometer down, it don't knock them off when they're not prepared. So you have to go all the way back down and then back up. See? And now we're running. So I just learned something about this system, which is it's not an ideal situation. However, I can get it to where it will shut off when this is done. The only thing that I would have to do well, let me get you on a tilt here. So basically what you have to do is turn it on, turn it halfway. Right? Now I know where I need to be, so I go to the next one past halfway. Now I'm going to put a little white mark on that so I can tell the difference, tell where the mark is. But this is going to be an aggravation because I'm going to have to do this every single time. So I'm going to be laying my piece down and then I'll hold it up off of my material and then I'll just reach up, flip that on, turn it to halfway, set it where I want it, and go ahead and bring it down on my work. And then once it's gone through, then it'll shut off with that switch. the one that's on the bandsaw itself. Now, I'll have to turn this switch on before I start, and then do all my preparation and stuff like that, and go that way. There should be a way to bypass that. I don't know. But anyway, that's going to end part 1 of the bandsaw 12 or DC motor conversion. This is just going to be this is basically in test mode right now. I'd like to have another bandsaw here and have one to be using while I'm testing, but basically I'm just using my bandsaw as a guinea pig. And I ain't none too sure. I ain't gonna go ahead and buy that grizzly mill here before too long. If I can get that lathe, rotor lathe and drum lathe sold, I ain't none too sure. I ain't gonna be buying that grizzly bandsaw. So, you know, there's a little inconvenience. I got to figure out how to bypass that safety switch. If I can bypass that safety switch, then I would never have to change my potentiometer ever. I really don't need a potentiometer on it, but that's my way of getting the speed that I want. I would rather have it so that the controller, and there may even be a pot on that controller, the board itself. There is one little pot there. I might be able to adjust that to get me the correct voltage to the motor, so that how I can just eliminate the potentiometer. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still in test mode. I'm not sure. I'm learning. So, also, you know, I wanted to show you guys something. I was talking to Mark on the phone about all the stuff that you can get out of a treadmill. And I wanted to show you guys a few things here. Check this out, man. Alright, you already know that you get a motor that's already been put in use. And you see, also, I wanted to also point this out. I do have the flywheel on it too. That flywheel is important to be on this motor because it cools it. It draws the air through the bottom of the backside of the motor. So, you know, it's very important to have that fan on there. And I just was able to set mine to work like that. You also get the controller. All the cords necessary. Also, look at all this beautiful, heavy duty box channel. You know, I've got, what, 3 feet right there, another 3 feet of it right here. Let me set you up here so I ain't got to be, you know. Then I've got, oh, that come off of something else. Yeah, I got a little piece of 3/4 by 3/4 box channel, and that's pretty hefty stuff. That's not real thin stuff. And you got that box channel, and you probably got 4 feet of it right there, maybe. Then you get a whole bunch of this stuff, the round stuff, in different sizes yet. You know, I've got the 2 rails that came up that I can get a whole bunch more of this out of it. I still got some more of this stuff out there that I haven't cut it up yet. So, I mean, you get a lot of metal out of one of those treadmills. Alright. I got one more thing I want to show you. Alright, you have this big long belt, and you know what that can be used for? Toolbox liners. You can use it for toolbox liners. You can use small pieces of it to make circles, to tape to the bottom or stick to the bottom of something that you don't want to scratch your table. Jewelry box liners, pretty much liner for anything. So far, the only thing that I've seen that can't be recycled, and I really can't say that either, like one of these panels here. So, you can take these panels and cut a whole big flat section out of it to straight and use it for other projects like facing something or whatever. You can get stuff like that out of it, that you can make pieces. So there's a lot. I can use every last bit that came off that treadmill, and it's a no-brainer. But anyway, there you have it. Part 1 test of the DC conversion on the Harbor Freight bandsaw. So, and I ain't even too sure this is a Harbor Freight. I think this is actually a Northern Tools. So, let me get in here and edit this and get it up for you so y'all can watch it in the morning. Which, by the way, top of the morning. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later.